go live. Hello, welcome to Nerdabout, episode 1 with Daryl, Beneeta, and Corey. We are 3 long-term friends working in the board game industry who have, through serendipity, met up all over the world for food, fun, and culture.
Yeah, so let me introduce myself. I'll start. My name is Daryl Andrews. I'm a board game designer and a consultant for Maestro Media. And fun fact, did you know that Tivoli Gardens is the second oldest amusement park in the world, founded in 1843?
I did not know that. Thanks, Daryl. And hello, everyone. My name is Beneeta Kaur. I am a board game Twitch streamer and a social media consultant. And did you all know that the Danish flag is the oldest state flag still in use by an independent nation? Legend has it fell from the sky in 1219. I know.
Wow.
I knew that. I actually knew both of those.
Oh, Corey, you're so smart.
What else do you know, Corey?
Yeah, what else do you know?
I'm Corey Thompson, co-owner of Above Board TV, co-host of Board Game Insider, and founder of Dice Tower Dish. And I bet you didn't know, Copenhagen was voted the best city for urban swimming.
I actually knew that.
Yeah, I actually knew that one too, because I love being in the pool.
No, urban swimming, harbors, all the good stuff.
I get it.
Okay, so Daryl, we all went on vacation to Copenhagen together last year, but where is the first place that you went when you arrived in Copenhagen?
Yeah, I mean, well, so the fun part was I met up with Corey at the airport, and I knew you, Beneeta, had already gotten there and were at the hotel. So after, gathering everyone, the first place that I had to go, which was the landmark, talking about sights and things that you got to see in Copenhagen, was the Little Mermaid statue. And if anyone doesn't know it, it's a little bronze statue. It's only like 4 feet tall, set just on the water here. Here's a depiction of it. It was actually commissioned in 1909. By Carl Jacobson, son of the founder of Carlsberg. And it's, actually modeled after a ballet, the fairy tale. The Carl Jacobson found one of the ballerinas from the Copenhagen Royal Theatre and modeled it after her. And so it's a go-to site to see at Denmark. It gathers a bit of a crowd. I think, most Danish people told me don't bother, but I still had to do it. It's just the thing to do. And then obviously we raced to then go get some food and drinks, which we'll talk about later, but just still focusing on the sites. I want to talk about some of the places we walked all over. It's a very walkable city.
So
bicycles. It's very friendly too. So one of the main spots we walked around beyond food spots was, and I'm butchering how you say it, and I'm sorry to all the Danish people watching, but the Strogat, which I'm sure our guests will help correct on all the things I'm pronouncing wrong. But that's just like the downtown area where we walked through, and it's like the shopping district, some fancy shops. We saw some geeky stores that I know Corey's going to highlight in our kind of geeky segment. We saw some really fun places, but that's one of the spots you got to see. Is walking around there. We also, Beneeta and I walked around. Near there is a harbor spot where you can get a boat tour. And so that was a lot of fun where we went out and just kind of got a tour of the area.
boat tour is actually how I saw the Little Mermaid statue. I don't think I went with you and
No.
Corey to go see it because I was kind of like listening to like the people from that area, like, you don't really need to see it. So I was kind of like on the fence, but I saw on the boat tour from away, and I think that was good enough for me.
That was good enough for you. Absolutely.
That was good enough for me.
One of my favorite walking tours that we did beyond that was actually at Christiana, which is an international community commune area. It's in a neighborhood right down in Copenhagen. It started in 1971, and it was actually started by squatters. They squatted near a military base near Pusher Street, which is famous, especially back in the day, for being a spot to get cannabis, which is illegal in Denmark, but was allowed. Cops would be stationed, and we learned where the cops would be stationed around the outside of the park. But it is actually the fourth largest tourist attraction in Copenhagen, with over 500,000 people that go.
It's an independent little hippie community. It is so amazing. They have their own laws, their own rules, their own government. Really a crazy little city within a city.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where I would find you were living, Corey, if you lived in Copenhagen.
100%. It was really cool. So we got like a walking tour at like from Daryl's friend, and we went all around. There's also like little food stalls, so we ate there. It was like a very like cool, like chill vibe on the water. We saw people's houses. There's like a little elementary school there because these people who live there don't really have to follow like Denmark law, like their own like legal system essentially.
Yeah. And it was beautiful. It was just all very wooded, very like everything was kind of like tiny homes built within, kind of respecting the landscapes and respecting the community. And the community would make decisions together. You can't live there unless the community allows you to live there. So it's very, I didn't know what to expect, but I really appreciated just how beautiful it was and how I felt very safe walking around. So
yeah.
And another place we didn't spend much time at, but is a major landmark for anyone that goes to Copenhagen, is Tivoli Gardens. As I mentioned, it is one of the oldest amusement parks. Some dispute if it's the second oldest, third oldest. It was built. It was built in 1843, and there's actually another amusement park in another region of Denmark that obviously fights with them about being older. And then there's one actually in Vienna, Austria. So I mean, I'll let the amusement park people fight out who was first. But I will give a shout out to their wooden roller coaster. I'm not even going to try to pronounce how you say it, but it was built in 1914.
Rutschebanen.
Okay,
there
you go. And people will call it the mountain coaster. And it is considered the world's oldest wooden roller coaster, and it's still operating today. So
I will say, as an aside about wooden roller coasters, they're probably my least favorite roller coasters because you go on them and you get a headache. They're so bumpy, so you walk away with a headache. They're so shaky. It like jostles my brain.
Is documented as the best way to clear a kidney stone, though.
Ooh. I love these random facts. It makes sense. It totally makes sense. I actually hate roller coasters. I hate them so bad that the first roller coaster I ever went on, my mom had to bribe me, and every year she would increase the amount, and I finally caved at $20. So
wait, how did I not know this about you, that you don't like roller coasters? They're so fun.
I hate them, but Tanya loves them. So if you ever want to go with Tanya.
Okay.
But I'll hold your bags. I serve a good breakfast. The other major site that I want to give a shout out to, and then I'll mention a few hotels and such, is the castles. I mean, they are like storybook. They look magical. Yeah. I want to highlight 4 in particular, 3 that are right in Copenhagen. So the first one I have to give a shout out for is, again, I'm going to butcher how you say it, Amaliaborg Palace. And so that one was actually built multiple times. It was actually burned down in 1794, and that's when after that the palace had been burned down in 1794, the actual royal family decided to move in, and even today lives today Frederick X and Queen Mary that is the official residence of the Danish royal family. So when they're
Yeah.
local, they're right in Copenhagen, hanging out at the palace. Another one I want to give a shout out for, only because for any literary fans, we do not discriminate on geekdom
Yes.
and love.
All of it.
Is Hamlet?
No.
If you're looking for the Castle Elsinore, that is Kronborg Castle. It is just north of Copenhagen. It's about a 40 to 50-minute drive. We didn't have a chance to go up and visit, but the pictures are remarkable if you go up to Helsingør, Denmark. What the other two castles/palaces that we saw in Copenhagen that I want to highlight is the Rosenborg Castle. That's home to the crown jewels. It has the crown regalia. It has the throne chair for Denmark. And we were a little too late because we went just before Essen, so around this time of year. But I have heard in the summer the flower gardens are exceptional.
Oh, yeah.
The last palace that I want to mention that, is a site or a place that you really want to check out. We noticed it while we were walking around the city, is the Christiansborg Palace. That is the seat of the parliament and also the Supreme Court. And even they have what do you call the stables? The royal stables are part of it. And so actually all elements, all the power in the country, from parliament, justice, and the monarchy all happen to meet in that building. It's quite large. We walked around it a few times. So those are the three kind of main big spots.
I was walking by it, and it was just so windy that day that
very windy.
Actually take a picture or observe it close up, because there's a lot of statues in the front. It was just nope, we have to move. It's so cold.
Yeah, and we were told by locals that even politicians will just literally walk out and grab lunch and street food, or be on a bicycle just zipping in. It has just such a nice central location. But if you can't stay in a castle, if you're not royal dignitaries, then you're gonna have to find a hotel. I want to give a shout out to a couple of hotels. One that we stayed at that we thought was a really great experience. We stayed at the AC Hotel Bella Sky. It was gorgeous. Had two tall towers. Corey stayed in one. Beneeta and I stayed in the other. It has this little land, or it has a little bridge at the top with a restaurant that you can go to, and beautiful views just outside of the city, but connected right on to the subway stop. So we were able to jump around the city very easily using mass transit. So I just wanted to highlight that. And the other one that I want to mention, when I was researching places that we could have stayed, I remember researching the Hotel Ottilia. Again, I'm a loyalist to Marriott, so it's pretty rare that I stay at another hotel. But
just stay at any
Marriott, I'm sorry.
You're watching,
please.
Only Marriott is allowed when you're traveling with Daryl.
But if I were to stay somewhere else, or if the Marriott wants to acquire a beautiful hotel, I highly recommend the Hotel Ottilia. It's actually in the Carlsberg district, and it's named after the wife of the original brewer, Carl Jacobsen. And it's in this really beautiful red brick section of the old brewery site, which is probably the last thing that I'll mention when it comes to sites to see, is the Carlsberg Brewery. Obviously, the most visited brewery museum in the world, and is also home to one of the largest collections of unopened beer bottles.
Yep. Crazy.
Unopened
beer bottles. So if you ever are looking for one, that's where you could go. But if you're not going to go there for a beer, Beneeta, where should someone go?
Okay, let's talk about the food and drinks in Copenhagen. I very specifically wanted to talk about this because that was my favorite part of the trip. So we went to a lot of different places. So we chose to focus on a few. So let's talk about first Brut. And I'm going to rely on Corey for pronunciation because I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. So it's a bar across the street from a pizzeria that we went to, which we're going to talk about in a second. And it had over 30 craft beers and cocktails on tap. And you're always guaranteed to try something new. It was very chill, low key. But more importantly, it had the cola that Daryl really liked. I knew you want to talk about
I didn't even mention it to you, but I was so excited to find Fritz Cola. Fritz Cola is the greatest cola in the world. shout out to, I think it's from Hamburg, their headquarters, but yeah, we found it. We found some at Bruce, and so everyone was enjoying incredible craft beers. But I was very happy with
Cola.
my Fritz
Yeah,
Cola.
he was
That
happy
is
with
too
his Fritz
funny.
Cola. It's really good. Fritz Cola is really good. So then across the street, we were waiting for dinner reservations, and we went to Base, which is like a gourmet level charcuterie and pizza place. But we did the tasting menu, and so it just like a lot of cheeses, a lot of different types of meat, and obviously very good pizza. Oh, look how cute we were! So we were joined by Asger, who was the co-designer of Heat. Yeah, we look adorable. And we just had an incredible amount of food, and I was like trying to remember like what we had, and I was looking at my pictures, but the combinations were so
the
different.
salamis, the charcuterie, the
Yeah.
pickles, the pizza slices, the wood fire. Oh, it was amazing.
So
It
good.
was really good. And then, because we did the tasting menu, we had different appetizers, and we had different pizzas, and then we had different desserts. So we had like the full like gamut of food at Beast. And then another thing, we can't talk about Copenhagen and not talk about, they're the open face sandwiches, and they're called Corey, what are they called?
Smorgasbord.
Thank you. That's what they're called. So like I said, they're traditional Danish open face sandwiches. The pickled herring is the most common version, and I think Corey has some pictures that we can show of some of these sandwiches. My favorite was probably like the shrimp. Like pickled herring was surprisingly good. I am very much a green eggs and ham person. I will always try everything once. The idea of pickled herring wasn't super appetizing to me, but then I tried it and I'm like, oh damn, this is pretty good. Like I was surprised how much I liked it. But my favorite was probably shrimp and egg. Did you all have a favorite smorgasbord?
I just want to keep making you say it.
I don't want to say it anymore.
No, I agree with you though. I really love the shrimp and egg. But I don't know, the classic, just being able to have some great pickled herring. Here's a shot Corey's pulled up.
Classic pickled herring with
So
gooseberries and capers and diced onions, little dill on top. That's lovely.
It was really good.
You're making me hungry. Oh,
yeah.
I missed my lunch.
If you are going to Copenhagen, like hopefully you eat fish, because fish is a very common like food or seafood in general. Another one, this is a shout out to Daryl, who did a lot of research. Gasoline Grill, one of the best burgers in the world, according to like many different like organizations that award burgers.
Bloomberg named it in one of the best burgers around the world. We tried that. We actually compared it. I forget the name of it, but Numa had a burger joint that we also compared it to. But the Gasoline Grill is everywhere. Corey and this is probably me trying to convince him to have a burger in Copenhagen. Probably. And he's like, we can eat better than that. But you'll also notice next to it is also Poulet, which I'll also give a shout out to. We had chicken burgers as well from there.
Yeah, those were good as well.
They were phenomenal. This is actually like a little almost outdoor food market area, and there's more that got closed down. We were, in the fall, but in the summer they have them all over the place. And so, we tried to cross the whole spectrum of like from very affordable food all the way to Michelin stars. It's amazing. Oh, yeah. We found out that Copenhagen alone is home to 16 Michelin starred restaurants, and that 3 of them actually have 3 stars each. So that's pretty impressive.
Well, let's talk about one of our 3-star Michelin restaurant, because this is a restaurant that we booked like months in advance, and it's called Geranium, and it is like a full course menu, like tasting menu, but it is vegetarian and pescatarian. A few years ago, they got rid of all of their red meat, which I was like, okay, how's this going to work? But it was very, very good. And Daryl, because this is your find, do you want to talk about Geranium?
Well, I'm very happy to highlight this. This was, the second we figured out we were going to go to Copenhagen, I started trying to get reservations at this place. We'll share over the future episodes some of the great places we've eaten, and this is up there as one of the greatest. I think the special thing, especially about Geranium, and all of us, I think we'll have lots to say about it. So we'll chat about it for a few minutes, I'm sure. But is that it's only vegetarian and pescatarian, so it's only fish and veggies. And so
this picture, we're so cute.
And you can see with us who's our surprise guest coming up real soon, in probably about 5 minutes or so, is Jacob Jaskov. But we had this crazy tasting meal, and does someone, Corey, do you want to tell us a little bit about what is the whole experience like? What's the big picture?
It was incredible. 10-course meal with the most impressively constructed, beautiful dishes, tiny little carved leaves, little diced vegetables, and it tasted so good. But I think what really sticks out in the mind, most of the time when you go for a multiple course sharing or a tasting menu, they'll give you a whole bunch of different dishes in a row and offer a pairing. They'll offer a wine pairing.
Mm-hmm.
But we were offered, as well as a wine pairing, a juice pairing.
It was incredible.
That blew me away. I got the wine. I wanted the juice.
I felt, and it was funny because I felt bad when I ordered it. I was like, well, I don't know if this is going to be great, but let's try it. And I just couldn't resist.
It was really fresh juices. Yeah. And so we have I took a picture of the menu because I want to just talk about some of the things that you got at this restaurant, I've never had before, or I've never had it in this type of format. So some of the things that were really stood out to me was the grilled squid glazed with potatoes, yeast, and kelp. I also really like the turbot stuff with turbot fins, raw vegetables, and watercress. I don't even think I had turbot before this meal before. And some other good things.
The dishes were so incredible. Just the beauty of them.
Also, they have a very extensive dessert menu that came with it. Yeah. And one of the standout things for me was the sea buckthorn, carrot, pumpkin seeds, and white chocolate. I had no idea what buckthorn was until this meal. So
absolutely.
It was really cool. So yeah.
Here's some of the dishes. They were gorgeously plated, and also one of the highlights for me. It was a ton of courses. I can't even remember, 20 something courses. But then they also took us for a little walking tour behind the scenes. And
that was, you eat too much. Let's walk around the
room. You got to stretch it out a little bit. Everything's small, everything's light, but there's a lot of detail and work that went behind every dish, including they had things that were fermenting for years, months, etc. in the back.
How pretty it is. Yeah.
It was sometimes you'd think to yourself, is this going to taste good? It's so pretty. But then it was both beautiful and delicious.
And just going behind the scenes was incredible. Yeah. They were so kind and so nice, and they catered to whatever we liked, didn't like, could eat, couldn't eat. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah, we got to go see the people prepping the food, the walk-in basically refrigerator where they keep all the vegetables, where they used to keep all the meat but now have the vegetables, which I thought was pretty cool. But we did only eat at expensive restaurants in Copenhagen. There are a lot of affordable options, and one of them is called the Dops hot dog stand. Now this is, I like hot dogs, but this was
I just have to prelude this that Daryl pushed us so hard to find and go to this one hot dog stand.
It's the one.
It was worth it.
The weather was terrible. It was raining.
It was raining.
But they do so many different kinds of hot dogs. That was the part that I was and a nice perfect snap, and
they have they have food pork, spicy beef, cheese, sausage, goat. They have a vegetarian hot dog. I got the spicy beef sausage, and it was incredible, very well flavored. But then you have to put all of the toppings on it, including pickles, fried onions, regular onions, obviously hot sauce, all of that.
Best hot dogs I'd ever had, for sure.
Yes. There you go.
Same here.
You got to look them out. It's Dots, and there are other ones I've read that are great, but that is the one that gets the best reviews. And it's just downtown.
If you go in a cold winter rainstorm, you won't have to wait.
Yeah. It's like I planned it.
I don't know where it went. I thought I had a picture of it, but it was so good. And then, you can't talk about Denmark without talking about all of the types of pastries. we went to at least like 1 or 2 every single day for like morning coffee or a midday break. You know, obviously the most like famous one is the Danish pastry, and I did write down the actual name for it. So like, you know, it's called Spanador. I'm not pronouncing this right.
I'm not going to correct you. Jacob probably will.
It's like a flaky dough with a custard cream filling. That was obviously amazing. And then there were some other like more like unique ones. And one thing that really remembered was like it was a Swedish cardamom bun. And there's like a specific word for it that I'm not even gonna try to say.
Well, we got them right there at that picture. The St. Peter's Bakery, which is historically, I think, the oldest, if not the second oldest. And and you can see our friend Derek there, who was on these journeys with us as well. I gotta give a shout out for Derek Johnson,
who's in chat right now. He dropped by and said hi. And also everyone in chat, like if you have any questions for us, we will be answering them at the end of the episode.
Absolutely. I think there's one more special drink, which it feels appropriate, is almost like if we could toast it before our guests. That's pretty famous for the region, and we met some interesting people. Corey, could you tell us a little bit about the essential drink on a Sunday afternoon?
We had gone to Smørrebrød, so this is a lunchtime open-faced sandwiches, and we went to the oldest, most well-known Smørrebrød, which was down in a basement. And at one point, the waiter kept coming by and offering us schnapps, the national dish of Denmark.
Schnapps.
Hundreds, thousands of kinds. And we said, we don't know, we're not sure. So he basically gave us tasters of all of them. So in this lunch, we had so much schnapps without actually ordering schnapps. Eventually, we did order some, and I don't remember those at all. But apparently, we were so loud and having such a good time and talking about such unusual things that two gentlemen at the table next to us at one point just turned around and introduced themselves and said they were dying to know what we actually did because our conversation was incomprehensibly weird.
They're like, what are you all talking about?
And they had secretly been taking pictures of us the whole time because they were talking about us in Danish and trying to figure out what we did. So these were two of our friends. They were just the nicest people ever, and we got invited to head out to their wine bar.
Yeah, their friend's wine bar. Yeah.
I also I doubt, because Corey controls
this
the
is
pictures.
Billy Ward and Martin Kilhoy, and Martin actually owns the art gallery, Kilhoy Gallery.
Yeah,
I doubt you'll show it, Corey, but I do recall you wearing some lipstick.
Yes, I can tell this story. So I
There's
obviously
no
wear
evidence
lipstick
of
all
this.
the time.
There's no picture.
No, I have pictures. I don't know if that's Google Drive. But I was reapplying my lipstick after lunch, and we made friends with them, right? And they're like, "Can you apply your lipstick on me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can." And then we applied it on Corey as well because we had to include Corey into this. So there's a picture of all of us wearing like bright purple lipstick because that was the color I was rocking that day. It's pretty cool. And also, just to go back to the schnapps thing, I wasn't feeling like I was kind of feeling a little bit under the weather that day. So I was refraining from schnapps, but the waiter did not let me. I ordered apple juice and like for the first 2 times. And then the third time he literally like forced like an apple variation of schnapps. It's like, you have to, like, you're in Copenhagen, you have to drink. And I'm like, oh, I'm like sick. I just took like cough medicine. And they're like, no, like I had no choice. So I had to drink schnapps. So that's just
this
vibe.
Picture that I'm sharing is one of the secret pictures that Billy and Martin took of us, trying to figure out what we were doing.
What are we?
This is Billy in the picture.
I love it.
Yeah.
Secretly toasting us with schnapps.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about Copenhagen, but we gotta bring on a guest who knows Copenhagen super well. and we want to bring on Jacob Jaskov. Hello, Jacob.
Hello.
How are
It's
you?
a pleasure to see you again.
So good to
I
see
know.
you.
I
And it was
love
cool. We did.
everything we
Jacob
do.
was part of our dinner for Geranium. How did you love? What do you remember about that dinner?
So for me, I think the most special thing that was the juice menu that Daryl ordered.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And it was, so I ordered a wine menu because I thought, okay, that's what you order for good food. And then Daryl was like, no, I take the juices. And I was like, okay, they are like
Your
as expensive
juices.
as the wines. So what's about it? And then luckily Daryl was sharing with us. So we got to taste.
Yeah, that
and-
was nice.
And this is the most incredible tasting experience in my life. So the way they
I
made
remember those. Oh, those juices had layers to them.
Yes.
First you taste this, then that, then something else.
so they actually like made a journey of taste in just like one sip. You had like first the first taste, then something else, then something else, and then something else, and more, and it just continued coming on you like for
Yeah.
30 seconds, and it was crazy. How can you do that? That was that's incredible.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Jacob,
Yeah.
we have a few questions for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, most importantly, tell us something like cool about Copenhagen that we, the three of us, and like people listening right now, likely don't know about.
So for me, I think it's both about Copenhagen, but it's also part of like Denmark. So actually in Denmark,
Oh,
Ooh,
you hit your
Oh,
mute button.
you're
by accident.
muted.
okay.
sorry.
He
Sorry.
just
Fine.
doesn't
You're
want
good.
us. Oh,
It's a
He's,
secret.
he's
Let the secret.
gatekeeping. Don't gatekeep.
Okay.
No gatekeeping.
No. So in Denmark, you can actually go to publicly funded school to learn to play role-playing games, board games,
Wow.
Warhammer. You
That's
can
so
go
cool.
to publicly funded conventions. So I was actually like 25 years ago, I was a teacher in role-playing games
Yeah.
for young kids. I organized a convention for young kids. So nobody
So
above
cool.
18. And today there are still these after school classes. And you can study like math or science or physics or German, or you can go to Warhammer or
Yeah,
Nerdabout.
are you going to Warhammer? I love
Yeah,
that.
you can
cool.
enlist to a class in cosplay or nerding or Warhammer or
That's
board
very
game
cool.
design. And for me, that's amazing. And this Copenhagen municipality, they have just funded last year, I think, a new place called the Game Laboratory.
Yeah.
Cool.
In another part, not in the center of Copenhagen, but in a part called Valby. That's actually the
Okay.
same place where the Bastard Cafe has opened their second.
Yeah, we went there.
Okay.
We visited
So
there.
yeah, so
Yeah.
in the same building up on the third floor, they have a game laboratory where people can do a lot of different things.
Oh, that's
And
really
it's
cool.
all supported by
So cool.
there's a project manager from the municipality supporting this.
I mean, play
just-
is so important, right? So
Yes.
it's cool that like Denmark recognizes the importance of play.
So
Um,
they support kids learning to play games.
fantastic.
that's
So
nice. Mhm.
our next question for you, and I'm gonna mess this up. I'm so sorry.
What is
What is hygge or
Hygge.
hygge, and is
Hygge.
Nerdabout hygge?
Hygge. So hygge,
Are we cool enough?
yeah, for me, hygge, and I think for many people, it's togetherness in a mindful way, and in a very relaxed way, and actively also supported by like food, drinks, and the context. So something where you like orchestrate, the full vibe, you could say, about around yourself
Mhm.
and around the people to just have a nice relaxing time without
Yeah.
where there's no like goal besides just being together.
Yeah.
I think, of course, all cultures have this in some way, but this is
Right.
something. I think if you think about the Hobbits, for example, in the Tolkien universe,
Great
that's
reference.
very, very Danish
Yeah.
way of thinking.
Right.
I think that
And
Well,
I felt that at almost every restaurant we went to. It just was a familiarity, a casualness, and a warmth
Mhm.
just wherever we went and ate and drank.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I feel that with you, Jacob. I feel that actually with a lot of Danes in general is that there's a straightforwardness, but there's also just like a
Yeah.
comfort and just like I almost describe it as cozy. Like there's
Yes.
just like this like warmth but chill.
I think the word we're looking for is hygge.
Hygge, I guess.
Hygge.
I just didn't know. I
I
didn't
think
know.
that's the word. Hygge.
And it's no, and it's in a relaxed, non-forced way. So it's just, and it's also a very trusting way to be together.
Yeah.
So it's not there's no like pretensions. It's very authentic. Just no facades. You're just there and enjoying.
Yeah.
And that's also why I enjoyed our time together, because
Yeah.
that's what I felt when we met.
So, Jacob, tell us what you're working on right now.
Yeah. So for me, I've 5 years ago I had a huge crash in my life, and now I'm back again. So it's a very special thing for me to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Yeah.
Because then I made Fog of Love, and that was what I'm known for. Now I'm working on this game. This is actually just.
Whoa.
Wow! Look at that box
So
cover.
cool.
So
I love it.
thank you. So yeah, so that's a small game with cards that are
Yeah.
works of art, and it's a very, very simple game. So my idea now is to do stuff that is very simple, because when I had Fog of Love, I wanted it to wanted really to have it come out to people and have new audiences play it. And we made this really interesting and good tutorial, and it was a theme that was very approachable and easy for many people to understand. Still, a lot of the games are unplayed at homes. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's not there's no judgment there, but based on this and the learnings I have had since, I wanted to create a game that can be explained in less than 60 seconds.
Yeah,
Hopefully
and you
less than
can,
30
because Daryl and I were able to play the vibe
Yeah.
at Gen Con, and you
Yeah.
told us in like less than a
Yeah.
minute how to play.
So you have 5 cards and put them on the table. And there are different images. Then you take 5 more cards, flip them around, and they have words on the back, like redemption
Yeah.
or numbness, fear. You put them out there. So 5 words, 5 images. And then one person will be the vibe, who's going to give hints to the others. So that person selects one of the words without telling the others, and then rearranges the 5 images in a sequence. So the one to the right is the one that expresses the theme the most. Then less,
Wow.
and least. So it's a very simple concept that kids who are 5 years old can understand.
Yeah.
So just take the images and the one that fits best to one side, and then less, and least. And then the other people in the group, they will look at the images, look at the words, and make a shared guess. It's a very,
Which
very,
word
very
is
simple
selected.
concept.
That's wonderful.
But
Yeah.
but it encourages so many conversations and both about art, because we use real artworks, and it's.
And I love the selection of pieces that you have for
Thanks.
that. They're so
Yeah,
well
I
done.
like the cover. So, Jacob, will you be selling the vibe at Essen?
Yes, so we just did the print yesterday.
Oh,
And
okay.
my
Congratulations.
manufacturer will have 400 copies ready, and they will airship so they will be ready next Friday. On next Saturday, they will enter a plane, and I will have them
That's
the week
exciting.
after, and then I will drive them to Germany. So,
Oh, that's amazing.
so there's
I can't wait to see him in
yeah,
person.
so I'm very, very happy about that. So that's one game, and I'm so proud of it, because it has been. Everybody can play it, and everybody,
Yeah.
people who never play games like it, but also hardcore gamers like it. There's also an advanced mode where you're gonna make a cross with like still 5 images, but 3 images vertically and 3 images horizontally, with 1 image in the center. So it's 5 images. Then you
Yeah.
pick 2 words that these 2 lines have to represent. And that is really hardcore, even though it's so
That
simple.
hurts my
It's
head.
very,
I like it that way.
very intense.
I prefer that mode. I love both. But...
We played that mode. I like the hard way mode.
Yeah. So that's definitely the one I think people will play the most. But I don't want to scare people away with presenting this first.
Sure.
People play the other one and they enjoy this, and then they say, "Oh, wow, there's more." So that's one game, and the other one, and that's actually the game that brought me back to publishing. I played it last summer at my home. I invited a lot of people in my place. I have a lot of games. Then one of my good friends, Casper Lapp, who's a game designer, he came and he didn't read the invite, so he didn't want to play the games we had, but his own games that he designs as players. We were like, okay, let's do that. That's fine. So we played his games, and one of these games at that time it was a different theme, but we played it and we played it and played it and played it for like 2 hours, and I had not laughed so much in like several years. I was crying with laughter. I could not stand up afterwards because I had so many cramps in my stomach. So I had never experienced that before. I had never experienced cramps like from laughter so much. So I asked him, okay, this is amazing. Can I publish this? I would love to publish again. And he was okay. He had pitched it to some other publishers, but then after like 4 or 5 months, he came back and said, yes, you can do it. And that's actually how I came back to this. So
is that the vibe, or is this a different?
No, that's
game?
the other one. So that's called Our Secret Society.
Yeah.
So that's
okay.
Preliminary.
I get to play this one too. It was a lot of fun.
I haven't played this one yet.
That's very cool.
So it's a very simple game where every player. So you are forming a secret society, and as we know, secret societies have a lot of rules, special rules. So each player will have some cards on the hand, like 3 cards here. And these are just prototypes, by the way. So and each player, so when it's your turn, you select one of the cards and say, okay.
What do we do?
In our secret society, we always start with an awkward pause.
Oh my God, I felt so awkward. I was like, what is happening?
And that might be the first rule, and you place it on the table. Then all others who play, they will, of course, start with that rule, but then add another rule, and then another rule. And then it just becomes crazy silly. You can have like these awkward pauses.
That was a really good awkward pause. I had to fill in that silence because I was so uncomfortable.
I thought I did something wrong. I panicked.
I was like, what am I missing? Also, Jacob, where are you going to be at Essen? Like, what's your booth number?
So my booth number is 5C400. So
wow.
It's just next to like Hasbro and some of the other big ones.
They got enough people lined up. Everyone lined up. And what's the name of the new company?
So my company name is Uloomi, ULOOMI, and it doesn't mean anything. It's just a friendly and distinct sound. That's
I like it. I like it. Sounds good. Uloomi. Okay, so Jacob, we're gonna have Jacob back for our end segment where we ask certain questions, but there's a lot of game designers in Denmark and a lot of other geeky stuff. So Corey is gonna take over all the geeky things in Denmark. So we will see you in 5 minutes, Jacob.
So we did a whole bunch of just geeky walking around stuff in Copenhagen, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the just incredible, I'm going to say, institutions in geek culture.
Yeah.
First of all, one of the very oldest comic book and board game stores in existence is in Copenhagen, called Fantask. It's been at the same location since 1971. It actually had a little bit of trouble in 2019, but was brought back to life with a crowdfunding effort. Raised over $80,000 to bring it back.
That's amazing.
We visited, and they were so kind and so nice to us. It was a fantastic store, but they let us into the secret office, which was that was just amazing. It was this really tight, strange spiral staircase. And when you got to the top, there was a little office, but it was plastered with just the most amazing artwork you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And what
Blue
it is
dragons.
blue dragons everywhere. If you look around, it's all these really, really famous artists who would visit and draw a blue dragon to share with the owners. And
That's so cool.
the names were incredible. All these really famous comic book names. Eisner is in there. Stan Lee was in there. Liefeld was in there. And you recognize a lot of these art pieces and go, I know that artist.
Yeah, I recognize.
Kind.
Agnes Grabowski had one, and I saw them like a month later, and I was like, "You have a blue dragon in there."
That's so cool.
Like, just they're everywhere. So
it was amazing how much just nerd culture was there. So that's fantastic, which is definitely worth a visit. We also went to the Bastard Cafe. This is probably, and there's a little bit of arguing and fighting over this, but it is probably the world's largest board game cafe.
Yes.
The main Bastard Cafe has over 5,500 games. And we actually got the chance to go to the new Bastard Cafe. They had opened a second location, and we went to the grand opening.
Yeah.
The games were everywhere. Sure, there were shelves and they were on the walls, but you looked up and they were lined up on the beam. And they were attached to the ceiling, and they were in little nooks and crannies in every section.
This is the original one, though. Yeah, the original one had games everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, just insane.
Everywhere.
And food and drink, and we rented a table actually with Asger and played games. It was amazing. Just such a comfy, cozy, friendly place with every game you could ever possibly want to pull down.
Yeah, and we got to play because, Asger is a co-owner of Sidekick Games. We actually got the opportunity to play Aqua and their newest game that I know they announced, but just in case they haven't, I will not say the name of it. Like before, like the op picked it up and everything, and it was just it was really cool. And we got to see, Dan's son is the co-designer, so we got to meet him as well.
Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan.
Yeah, Sidekick Games is one of the staples inside Copenhagen. A couple other big ones. There is a big role-playing and board game get-together every Easter in Copenhagen if you're there in April, called Festival. It's close to 1,000 people, and they all come in, and it's just a great, unique community of everybody sharing in board games and role-playing games. And of course, if you're in Copenhagen, or if you're in Scandinavia in general, they're super popular candy bar.
Oh,
it's of course
the big corny,
the corny bar, the big corny. So I got a nickname the whole time we were there because we were all eating these banana corny bars.
I still call you that. Big corny, and he had a corn shirt. It was perfect. Come on, how could you not?
The banana flavor is the best for sure.
Banana is the best one. Technically a German candy bar, but super popular all over Scandinavia. In fact, a friend of mine bought corny bars in Greenland. So
okay. Yeah. I mean, I was buying. I think I bought up the entire supply at our hotel. So because we would just regularly.
That sounds like Daryl.
We ate a lot of corny bars.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So I guess we're at our last question. So we're gonna bring back Jacob, and put you on the spot here a little bit. But I'll give you a little bit of time. I'll let you go last. So I'll go first. We'll go this time. Me, Beneeta, Corey, Jacob. There are so many. We mentioned but a handful of the amazing Danish design scene, and as we're all big fans of board games, we know you, Jacob, obviously from the world of game design. We've mentioned Asger, and he often co-designs with Daniel. there's Martin Anderson, there's Casper Lapp, there's Mads Flo, there's Jeff Norsker, there's Ole Steenus, there's Christian Markinson. I'm sure I'm butchering people's names, and then also even Christian Peterson.
Yeah, I'd like to also put out there, Christian Peterson originally founded Fantasy Flight Games as a comic book publishing house in Copenhagen, where he grew up.
Yeah, so
I did not know that. That's cool.
Even and Mikael Bertelsen is another friend of the show, a friend of ours. But the big question, and in chat, please participate with us. Who do you think is the best Danish designer? Or if you don't want to name a person, but you want to name a game, what's the best game designed by a Dane? So we're gonna pick a game, just because it's hard to pick a favorite, and we would just pick you, Jacob. So
obviously, Jacob, my favorite designer.
So one rule that I told Beneeta and Corey is they cannot pick you or pick one of your games.
Yeah.
But please check out The Vibe at upcoming Essen. And I'm excited about that. But it's just not out yet. So meanwhile, we'll pick a game. I'm going to go with one, and I actually pulled it off my shelf. I'm very excited for this to actually come back into print. And not only did we just mention the backstory to Fantasy Flight Games, Christian D. Peterson, but he has a new company, Ghost Galaxy, and they are bringing this game back on GameFound, and that is Lord of the Rings, The Confrontation. It is just a 2-player game. I'm not a 2-player game fan usually.
Yeah, you don't like 2-player
I don't normally like 2-player games. This is my kryptonite. This is one of the rare...
Yeah.
What's that?
It's Knizia who made that one.
Oh, was it? Oh, you're absolutely right. I've just totally cheated. You're absolutely right. Well, that's even funnier. So I'll go with company publishing it. Christian Peterson. But I don't even follow my own rules, but I was just naming things that I could think of. But you're absolutely right.
I love it. It's such a good
Reiner Knizia's game. I'll give a Dane a shout out on the Germany episode. But this was be my pick. But I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna move it on to Beneeta.
Okay, so I follow the rules. And my game is Bandito, and Bandito is by Martin Nedergaard Anderson. So people know that I don't like cooperative games, but this doesn't feel like a cooperative game. So this is like a game from 1 to 4 players. You can play it solo, and you are trying to you have a number of cards, and you are playing these cards out, and you want to make sure the bandit does not escape from jail. So you want to close off all of the ends to his tunnels. And it's a huge table hog because there's so many cards, but it's so fun. It comes in a small box game. It fits in my purse. I brought it to bars with me. Also, it has a really, really good app. So like on the plane, I will play with like the person sitting next to me on my iPad. It's such a fun game. It kind of feels like it came out of nowhere. People really started playing a lot of it on Board Game Arena during the pandemic. And ever since then, I have been obsessed with how good Bandito is. So if you haven't played it, definitely check it out.
Very cool.
How about you, Corey?
I just want to put a quick note in here that the 2005 redo of Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation was co-designed by Christian Peterson.
Save me.
And co-designed by Eric Lang, who is a citizen of the world.
Yeah. Sure. I'll take it. I'll take whatever help I can get.
I do not doubt that Christian and Ghost Galaxy are going to redesign again when they have the new game.
Yeah. Yeah, they've announced that they've added more materials to it.
Yeah.
I am going to pick a truly Danish classic, and this is Klask by Mikael Bertelsen. So it is currently ranked number 251 on Board Game Geek. It is a small wooden game that Mikael handmade in December of 2013 to give as Christmas presents to his friends.
Yeah.
Klask is basically air hockey, but instead of having an air hockey table blowing pieces all over the place, you have magnets under the board controlling pucks on the surface, and you knock your ball back and forth using the magnets under the board. There's a 2-player version of Clask and a 4-player version of Clask. There's Clask tournaments now throughout the world. It is huge. And if you have not actually laid one of these in your lap and reached underneath and played around with the magnet, you haven't really experienced Clask.
True.
I've never played Clask. I really need to. I know, I've never played.
It is such a good like pub game. Like I just love
with Crokinole as just a physical, fun, knock things all over the place, and you will do terrible the first time you play it.
Yeah, I want to play this. It sounds so fun. I know, Marianne, I never played.
Fun fact: Mikhail was on the equivalent of Survivor.
Yes. Oh wow!
And was a winner. So.
What? That's so cool.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I love that.
Check that out. But I think we stalled. What's that?
He's pretty famous now in Denmark.
Yes,
and, like on a lot of like ads and TV and.
Really?
That's amazing.
But is it the company that makes Clask, like a Finnish company or based in Finland?
Yeah. So it's published by a Finnish company. Yes.
Okay. But it's still a German. Still a Danish designer. Okay.
Yeah, still Danish. Yeah.
Okay, and now you, Jacob. What is your favorite game designed by a Danish designer?
So I think as I just talked about Kasper Lab's games, I love what he does, but I think I have an interest there, so I will try to not.
That's fair. I mean, but again, amazing job with like Magic Maze. That's not a hat.
He makes
towers.
That's not a hat.
But besides him, I think the game that I played by a Danish designer that like really did something for me is a game that is not out yet, but it's by Jacob Berg, who makes a game. It's called, I think the preliminary name is The Jury. It's going to be published by Cosmos. So it's going to be super big thing. And it's you're playing a jury and you get more and more evidence and you see through this and discuss this. So it's based on true crime. So it's based on real evidence. It's not. It's real court material you are looking for. It's a real audio clips that you're listening to. So it's the real interviews with the witnesses and the suspects, and you're listening to that, and then you're like trying to figure out, okay, is that verdict? Where should that verdict go? Is that person guilty or not?
Sure.
And we played that for 2.5 hours, and it was so intense. And I was having this on top of my mind for like weeks after because it was so big.
I love it.
So this is
that sounds really fun.
So this is coming out probably, I would guess, next year. I don't. It's not. But it's an amazing experience. So it's something I would. I've just looked it up on Board Game Geek and I couldn't find it. So it's not announced yet, but it will.
We'll find it. We'll stay tuned for it. I love it. See, you got to tune in here for breaking news. So
that sounds great.
Amazing. Well, again, thank you, Jacob, for joining us and being a great host to us.
Thank you.
Before we go, we'd be remiss if we don't give a little shout out where people can find us. Jacob, why don't you start us off and then we'll go counterclockwise around. But what socials, those kind of things.
So right now, I'm just building them up. Beneeta knows that because she asked me to.
I was like, where can I follow you? And he's like, oh, I don't have an Instagram page. And I'm like,
it's being built. So my company is Uloomi, ULOOMI, and you can find it on .com. Right now, there's just a subscription link to a newsletter. It will change in 2 weeks. It's also Uloomi Games on Facebook and on Instagram.
Awesome.
And then, so that's the main thing. And then my own name is Jacob Jesgaard, and you can find me on Twitter or X, as it's called now. I'm not so active at the moment there, but probably will be again and do something more open.
Awesome.
But Uloomi Games, that's where it will be.
Perfect.
So excited. Awesome. Well, I'm Corey Thompson, and you can find I have the YouTube channel Above Board TV. You could find my interviews at dicetowerdish.com, and I'm also a co-host of Board Games Insider at boardgamesinsider.com.
I'm Beneeta Kaur. I primarily stream board games on Twitch every Monday and Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, I will be streaming with Roberto. He has this new game called Gems of Iridecia out on Kickstarter. So if that sounds fun to you, come hang out. Roberto will be joining me as a guest. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Everywhere else on social media, I'm at just Beneeta Kaur. I got lucky. I got the same handle everywhere.
Amazing. Yeah, and you can find me on Facebook, Daryl Andrews, Instagram, Daryl Andrews. You can also find me next Monday. I see Tim's in the chat. I'm going to be on Codenames Live.
Nice.
So come check that out. I think we're going to have a really fun time. And also, shameless plug for one of my games, Donald Duck Happy Camper is on pre-order right now, so you can find that at Meister Media. So that's us.
And, well, one second. For the Nerdabout Show, make sure you follow us on social media because we are building those channels up. So we're on Twitter and we're on Instagram. You can find links on our bio in YouTube. And join us next Tuesday because this is a weekly show. Join us next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We will have a new guest, and our city is Las Vegas because all three of us have been to Vegas so many times. And this will be perfect if you're going to World Series of Board Gaming. That is the perfect show to watch before. I will be there. So if you're going to be a World Series of Board Gaming, make sure you say hi. But yeah, so we will see everyone 3 p.m. next Tuesday on September 17th. But yeah, thanks for everyone for joining. We're going to end it now. Bye.
Thanks again.